Think you need confidence to take action? What if I told you it's the other way around? You don't need more confidence. You don't need to be more prepared. You don't even need to be less afraid. What you really need is to act before you feel ready. In this video, you're going to learn why confidence doesn't come before action. It comes because of it. Picture this. You've got an opportunity right in front of you. A conversation you've been avoiding. A project you've been dreaming about. A challenge you know could change your life. And yet you freeze. Why? Because you're waiting for that inner green light to tell you, okay, now you're ready. But here's the truth. That green light, it almost never comes because you're looking in the wrong direction. You think you need to feel capable before you act, but in reality, it's the act itself that makes you capable. Why should you stick around? Because by the end of this video, you'll understand why the confidence first mindset is quietly holding you back, how your brain actually builds or breaks your belief in yourself. Simple, science-backed strategies to boost your confidence in just 5 minutes a day. And most importantly, how to flip the cycle and make confidence your default setting. You don't need to be loud. You don't need to be perfect. You don't even need to feel ready. You just need to understand this paradox, the same one that has changed thousands of lives and can change yours too. This might be the video that finally unlocks you. Today, we're blowing up the biggest myth about confidence. You don't need confidence to act. You need to act to build confidence. Part 1, the great lie. I need to feel ready first. I'll do it once I feel more confident. But confident for what, exactly? To speak up in that meeting? To ask for the raise? To post your first video or your thoughts online? To tell someone how you really feel? To finally start the thing that's been spinning in your head for 6 months straight? Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. We've all said it. I'm not ready yet. Now is not the right time. I just need to feel more confident first. But let me ask you one simple question. What if that magical moment when you finally feel ready never comes? Because truthfully, you're not waiting to be ready. You're waiting for the fear to go away. You're waiting to stop shaking, to stop doubting yourself, to stop feeling like a fraud. And here's the uncomfortable truth. That moment doesn't exist. It's an illusion, a psychological mirage. You're chasing a feeling that was never meant to come before action. It's meant to come because of action. The emotional green light that never turns on. We've been conditioned to wait for some kind of inner green light. You know the one, I feel fully prepared, I feel 100% legit. I'm no longer afraid. I'm totally comfortable. I'm sure this will work. Only then do we give ourselves permission to act. But guess what? Life doesn't work like that. It's like waiting to build stamina before you start running. Or wanting work experience before you get your first job. Or waiting to feel confident before speaking up. See how backwards that is? It's the action itself that creates the very state you're waiting for. Why do we fall for this illusion? Because we confuse two completely different things. Perceived confidence, the feeling we think we're supposed to have before taking action. Real confidence, the kind that's built by doing, failing, learning, and trying again. And more than anything, we're scared. Scared of looking stupid, scared of failing, scared of being judged, scared of being exposed. So we dress fear up as logic. It's not the right time. I need to think this through more. I just want to get it perfect first. I don't want to rush into it, but let's be honest. You're not waiting to be prepared. You're waiting to feel safe. And that's okay. It's human. But recognize this. Your problem isn't a lack of preparation. It's a lack of permission. You're waiting for permission to act. But that permission, it doesn't come from anyone else. It has to come from you. A friend once told me, I want to start a YouTube channel, but I'm waiting until I feel more comfortable on camera. So I asked him, how exactly do you plan to get comfortable if you never actually film anything? Silence, then a nervous laugh. He realized he was trying to learn how to swim without getting in the water. And that's what we all do, isn't it? You don't need to feel ready, you just need to start. You don't need to feel confident to act. You need to act in spite of not feeling confident. That's when everything starts to shift. You realize that confidence isn't some prerequisite. It's a byproduct. It's the residue of courageous action. You want to speak in public? You'll suck at first. You want to record yourself? You'll hate how you sound. You want to pitch your idea? You'll probably stumble through it. But that's the only path to true inner strength. The golden rule. Don't wait until you feel confident to do the thing. Do the thing, and that's how you build confidence. Part 2. The real cycle. Courage gives action, gives skill, gives confidence. Let's debunk one of the biggest myths that keeps people stuck. The idea that you need confidence before you can take action. That's not how it works. Confidence isn't the starting point, it's the final result. Here's what actually happens in real life, not in motivational memes. 1. Courage, the spark you can't see. Courage is that tiny moment, often just a few seconds, where you decide to act, even though you're scared. You don't feel ready. You don't feel calm. You feel like running in the other direction, but you act anyway, and that's what makes it real. It's hitting post while your voice shakes in the video. It's saying I disagree in a room where everyone nods along. It's sending the message you've rewritten 10 times, because not sending it would haunt you more. Courage isn't about being fearless, it's about doing it afraid. And here's the good news. You don't need to be courageous all the time. You just need a few seconds, the right seconds. 5 seconds of boldness can change the trajectory of your entire day. 2. Action, the awkward first step. Once courage kicks in, you move, you speak, you show up. And let's be honest, that first step, it's rarely graceful. You fumble your words, you overthink, you want to run. You cringe at how messy it feels. But here's the thing, you're no longer stuck in your head, you're in motion. And that changes everything. You signed up for the gym. You went live on Instagram even if only your mom and your cat showed up. You applied to that job you thought was out of reach. You stepped into the arena. And in that arena, something powerful happens. Your brain realizes you survived. It was uncomfortable, but not deadly. And now you have a reference point. A spark. Fuel for what comes next. 3. Skill, the payoff of repetition. Keep showing up and things start to shift. You get sharper. You adjust. You learn. What felt like chaos starts to turn into control. You go from guessing to growing, and that's when something amazing happens. You start to believe in your ability. Not because someone hyped you up, not because you chanted affirmations in the mirror, but because you proved it to yourself. You're not terrified of speaking up anymore. You don't reread your emails 27 times before hitting send. You actually start to enjoy what once scared you. That's not arrogance, it's earned. It's what psychologist Albert Bandura called self-efficacy, the deep internal belief that you can handle what's ahead. And that's what makes the final piece of the puzzle possible. 4. Confidence, the natural outcome. This is it. The moment you've been waiting for. But it doesn't arrive like some divine lightning bolt. It sneaks up on you, grows quietly, becomes part of who you are. You don't feel confident because someone told you you should. You feel it because you've earned it through action. You know you can handle things. Not because you're fearless, but because you've been through fear and kept moving anyway. You've built an internal library of evidence that says, I can do hard things. And here's the truth most people miss. Confidence isn't the absence of fear. It's the quiet certainty that fear won't stop you anymore. Confidence is like a muscle. Imagine going to the gym for the first time. You don't walk in and lift 220 pounds on day 1. You start with the small weights. You sweat. You question your life choices. You leave sore and wondering, was that even worth it? But you come back. And little by little, you get stronger. One day you lift something you never thought possible. That's what confidence is. Not something you wait to feel, but something you build, rep by rep, action by action, based on your lived experience. Truth time, a lot of people watch videos like this. They take notes. They highlight quotes. They feel inspired. But nothing changes until they grasp this simple truth. Confidence lives outside your comfort zone, not inside your notebook. Part 3. The science behind the confidence paradox. Why confidence comes after you act, not before. The confidence code. Why not ready is a lie your mind tells you. Based on the book by Katie K. and Claire Shipman. Imagine 2 people applying for the same job, same skills, same qualifications. But one of them thinks, I'm not perfect, but I'll figure it out. The other thinks, I'm not ready yet. I need to learn more before I apply. Guess who gets the job? The first one applies. The second keeps waiting. And that's the quiet tragedy of confidence. What the confidence code reveals. In their now iconic book, Katie K. and Claire Shipman dig deep into the psychology of self-doubt, especially how it plays out in everyday life. Their research uncovered a pattern that shows up in schools, companies, and even relationships. Men are more likely to overestimate their readiness and go for opportunities, even when they underqualified. Women, on the other hand, tend to underestimate their readiness and hold back, even when they're fully capable. But this isn't just a gender story. It is a human story about how we perceive ourselves and how that perception controls our decisions more than our actual abilities. A surprising example from the research. In one study at a tech company, researchers looked at who applied for leadership roles internally. What they found was telling. Men applied when they met about 60% of the job criteria. Women waited until they met 100%, not because they weren't smart, not because they weren't ready, but because one said, "I'll figure it out once I'm in the role," while the other believed, "I need to be flawless before I even try." The result? The less qualified person moves forward, not because they're better, but because they gave themselves permission. And this shows up everywhere. In classrooms, girls tend to wait until they fully understand something before raising their hand, while boys often speak up and figure it out as they go. In business, women ask for raises far less often, even with equal or better performance. In entrepreneurship, talented people never launch because they don't feel ready yet. But this isn't just a sociological insight. It's a psychological block, a voice inside that whispers, "You're not good enough yet, just wait a little longer." And it's not just women. The confidence gap might be more visible across genders, but anyone can get stuck in the loop. The perfectionist who never publishes their work. The introvert who thinks they're not the type to speak up. The artist who keeps editing the same draft, never releasing it. This isn't about lack of talent. It's about an invisible rule we carry inside. Unless I'm 100% sure, I'm not allowed to act. But here's the truth. Confidence isn't about being fully ready. It's about giving yourself permission to start before you are. Why action breaks the cycle? Because when you act, something shifts. You step out of your head and into momentum. Your brain, which was full of what-ifs, suddenly has something real to focus on. You're not imagining anymore, you're moving. And movement creates energy. Even a small step says to your brain, "Look, I'm doing it. I might be scared, but I'm in it." And your brain, whether it believes you yet or not, starts to adapt. A liberating truth. You don't need to feel ready to be qualified. You just need to act consistently until your mind starts to believe what your actions are proving. Confidence isn't something you download. It's something you build brick by brick through every tiny decision to show up anyway. What the confidence code really teaches us. Confidence is earned, not inherited. It doesn't come from degrees, years of experience, or a perfect resume. It comes from the habit of showing up again and again. You don't need to be fearless. You just need to be in motion, and the rest will catch up. Albert Bandura, The Self-Efficacy Theory. What you believe about yourself shapes what you're willing to attempt. You know that moment when you think, "I'm not sure I can do this." And right after that, you drop the idea. It's not because you're incapable. It's because you believe you are. That's the key difference Bandura uncovered between actual ability and perceived ability. And this insight comes from one of the most influential psychologists of the 20th century. So what is self-efficacy? Self-efficacy is your belief in your ability to successfully perform a specific task in a specific context. It's not the same as general self-confidence like, "I believe in myself overall." It's more targeted and flexible. Do I believe I can speak in front of 10 people? Do I believe I can learn to code if I commit to it? Do I believe I can stay calm in a tough conversation? And what Bandura found is powerful. Your beliefs about your ability influence your actions just as much, if not more, than your actual skills. You might be totally capable, but if you don't believe you are, you won't take action. The virtuous cycle of action Bandura showed that self-efficacy builds through experience. Every small win becomes evidence. See? I can do it. And the more wins you collect, even tiny ones, the more confident you feel. The more confident you feel, the more risks you take. The more you act, the more you succeed. You enter a positive feedback loop. Courage gives. Action gives. Small success gives. Internal proof gives. Belief strengthens. Gives new, bigger action. This cycle, it can change your whole life. Bandura identified 4 main sources of self-efficacy. Personal mastery experiences. Nothing builds belief like direct success. Every challenge you overcome tells your brain, "I've got this." Vicarious experiences. Observing others. Seeing someone like you succeed sends a powerful message. If they can do it, maybe I can too. Verbal persuasion. Encouragement from someone you trust. A simple, "You've got this," can sometimes be the push you need. Emotional and physiological state, calm, focus, and rest support your sense of control. Stress, exhaustion, and anxiety can undermine it. But beware, there's also a downward spiral. This mechanism works both ways. Stay stuck in inaction, and you don't collect any proof of your ability. Your mind fills in the blanks with fear, doubt, and imagined failure. You stop believing in yourself, and eventually you stop even trying. That's called learned helplessness, the belief that failure is inevitable, even when it's not. So how do you break the cycle? Shrink the challenge. You don't need to slay the dragon today. Just start by sharpening your sword. Want to speak in public? Read out loud alone at home. Want to make content? Post a 15-second story. Want to get fit? Start with 5 minutes of brisk walking. And most importantly, track your tiny wins. They're the invisible building blocks of your future confidence. Bandura's key message: confidence doesn't fall from the sky. It's built through real experience. What you believe about your ability often matters more than the ability itself. Every action, no matter how small, feeds or weakens your self-efficacy. It's not about motivational quotes. It's about creating a personal library of evidence that you can do hard things. Want to believe in yourself? Take action. Start small, stack your wins, and repeat. That's the only path to true, lasting confidence. Amy Cuddy and the confidence of the body. How your posture rewires your mindset. Picture this: 2 people are waiting for a job interview. One slouched in a chair, legs crossed, eyes down, scrolling nervously through their phone. The other standing tall, hands on hips, breathing deeply, chin up like they're about to pitch their next startup to Elon Musk. Which one looks more confident? Easy, right? The one with the power stance. But here's what's wild. What if that posture isn't just a result of confidence, but the very thing that creates it? That's the claim behind one of the most talked about studies in psychology, led by Harvard researcher Amy Cuddy. The power of embodied cognition. Your mind isn't floating above your body, thinking in isolation. It's constantly responding to what your body is doing. Psychologists call this embodied cognition, and the idea is simple but revolutionary. Your body can shape your mind. In other words, you don't have to feel confident before you act confident. You can act confident first, and the feeling follows. The 2-minute power pose experiment. Back in 2010, Cuddy and her team ran an experiment that became a TED Talk sensation. Here's what they did. They split participants into 2 groups. Group A held high-power poses, expansive open stances, think superhero, arms spread, feet planted. Group B held low-power poses, hunched, closed-off body language, crossed arms, legs tight, eyes down. Each group held their pose for just 2 minutes. That's it. Then researchers measured biological and psychological markers, and the results were stunning. Testosterone, linked to confidence and dominance, went up in the power pose group. Cortisol, your stress hormone, went down. And most importantly, people in power poses felt more confident, more optimistic, and more capable of taking action. 2 minutes of body language changed how people saw themselves. Hack your nervous system with your body. This isn't just a party trick, it's a real biological shift. No, you won't magically become a TED speaker by standing like Superman in your bathroom. But what you will do is flip a switch in your brain, from anxiety to action, from self-doubt to self-command. It's not fake, it's priming your mind to step up. Don't fake it till you make it. Fake it till you become it. That is the phrase Amy Cuddy dropped in her TED Talk that now has over 60 million views. And no, she's not telling you to lie to yourself or pretend to be someone you not. She's saying something far more powerful. Identity is shaped by repetition. If you act like a confident version of you, even before you fully feel it, over time your mind catches up. That's not faking, that's becoming. A life tip: the 2-minute ritual. You've got a big moment coming up, a job interview, a presentation, a difficult conversation. You have 2 options: curl up, shrink down, stare at your phone, rehearse disaster scenarios in your head, or stand up, stretch out. Lift your arms like you just won a marathon. Breathe deeply. Smile, even just a little. It's a small physical ritual, but it sends a massive signal to your nervous system. I've got this. I'm showing up. I'm ready. And the more you do it, the more your body starts to make it your default state. But let's be real for a second. Some critics jumped on the study when parts of it didn't replicate under lab conditions. Fair. Science evolves. But here's what hasn't been debunked. The broader truth that your body shapes your mind is solid, confirmed, and supported across dozens of psychological studies. So no, power posing isn't a magic bullet, but it is a lever. A simple, repeatable way to interrupt fear and step into presence. Here's what you take away. Confidence isn't just in your head, It lives in your body. You can shift your state without needing permission from your feelings. The way you move tells your brain, I'm capable. I belong here. I can do this. And the more you repeat that signal through action, posture, and presence, the more your brain makes it real. That's not faking. That's transformation. Part 4. Real stories of confidence born from action. Colonel Sanders, the chicken king who heard no 1,009 times at over 60 years old, he set out to sell his fried chicken recipe. He was rejected again and again, 1,009 times. But he didn't stop. Today, KFC is a global giant. He didn't start with confidence. He started with determination. Richard Branson, dyslexia didn't stop him. He struggled with details because of his dyslexia. So he turned it into an advantage, learning to simplify everything. That mindset, it became the foundation of the Virgin Empire. He didn't wait to be ready or flawless. He moved forward despite his limits. Amy Cuddy, from setback to TED stage after an accident that impaired her cognitive abilities, she was told she'd never succeed academically. But she applied her own research, acting as if she belonged. The result? She became one of the most watched TED speakers of all time. Part 5. How to apply this in real life. 1. The 5 brave actions. Protocol. Per week. Set a goal. Do 5 things this week that feel slightly uncomfortable. Actions that trigger resistance, even just a little. Examples. Speak up in a meeting. Even if your heart's racing, pitch that idea you've been sitting on. Say no, clearly and respectfully. Launch that Instagram page you've been overthinking. Ask for help or a favor. The rule? Don't wait for fear to go away. Move forward with it. 2. The 2-minute power pose trick before a high-stakes moment, job interview, big presentation, important conversation. Stand tall. Feet grounded, shoulders open, slow, steady breathing. Hold it for 2 minutes. Why? Because your body can help rewire your mind. Confidence isn't just in your head. It starts with how you carry yourself. 3. The proof of competence journal each evening. Jot down 1 thing you dare to do today, 1 small win, no matter how tiny. 1 moment you acted despite feeling afraid. You're not just writing in a journal. You're building your own mental library of evidence. I've done hard things. I can do it again. Let's recap. Here's what to remember. Confidence comes after action, not before. Courage is the spark that gets things moving. Small wins build internal proof that you're capable. Your body can shift your mindset. Confidence is like a muscle. You can train it. Time to take action. So this week, pick 5 courageous actions, small ones, uncomfortable ones, but real. Before each one, do your 2-minute power pose. And in the evening, write down what you dared to do. Confidence isn't a gift. It's something you build, brick by brick, action by action. If this video sparked something in you, do 1 small but powerful thing. Like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell. And most importantly, drop a comment below. Here's my first brave action this week. Let's build that confidence together.